Last night, the Booker Prize was awarded to not one, but two authors, the judges disobeying the rules and awarding the prize to Margaret Atwood and Bernadine Evaristo. Atwood won for her long-awaited sequel to The Handmaid's Tale, The Testaments, while Evaristo became the first black British woman to win with Girl, Woman, Other. With strong political themes in both books, we talked to them about their take on the current state of the world. I began by asking how it feels to share this prize.
Well, I think it's quite wonderful because if I had been solo, it would have been somewhat embarrassing. At my age and stage, I don't exactly need a lot of extra attention right now, but here we have Bernardine, and she has felt for years that maybe she would never ever win it, and now she has, and it's quite wonderful, and a lot more people will get to know her work.
Well, Bernadine Evaristo, how do you feel about sharing this?
Well, you know, it's not even about sharing the prize, it's about getting the prize. I think it's such a great opportunity, so I'm absolutely delighted to have won the prize, and I've won it with Margaret, and she's so generous in her attitude about it, and I just think it's a real privilege.
And the Booker chairman described The Testaments as politically urgent, and I know you quibble with being described as a prophet, but do you think that your ability to sort of see the future and comment in a way, in a literary way, on our woes is what won it for you?
All right, there is no the future. There are a lot of possible futures, some of them nicer than others. So what dystopian novels about the future do is say, here's a blueprint of a house. Is this where you want to live? Is this the world that you would like to live in? If you would not like to live in this world, take a different road. So there is no hard and fast, set in stone the future. We can change the future that then arrives, and that's what those books are saying.
Are we capable of taking a different road?
We have taken roads other than roads people thought were inevitable. We have done that in the past. We have not yet blown ourselves up with nuclear bombs. Hooray for us. So now we have to do something about the climate crisis, or it's going to have the same effect, just a little bit slower arriving.
I just wanted to ask Bernadine, I saw you say that you're writing stories that aren't out there. I mean, it's a triumph, isn't it, that now those stories, including those of older black women, are out there now, and your name is in lights. That's a triumph, isn't it?
I would say so. You know, I've written about 12 primarily black British women, and I just wanted to address our invisibility in British literature. And so I wanted a variety of women, different ages, cultural backgrounds, sexualities, classes, occupations, so on and so forth. And as I was writing the book, I realized that we have such a limited kind of representation of black women that the field was wide open for me. So I really wanted to just say, look, we are so much more than we've seen in literature. And the fact that the book has been awarded the Booker Prize, I think, is great validation for this kind of work.
And you're the first black British woman to win it.
I'm the first black British woman to win it, yes.
An amazing accolade. And yet, on the same day that you have this victory, we've seen these appalling scenes of racism at the England football game. Does it give you hope that there was such a global outcry about that racism, or does it give you despair that people are doing Nazi chants and monkey chants?
I think you know, what's happening in our society is that we are seeing extremes now. So while our societies in most of the world have progressed, we're also seeing regression and backlash. And certainly in this country, for example, we're seeing the kind of street-level racism that I thought disappeared after the 70s and early 80s, and it's come back. So I think it's very worrying. We can't be complacent. And one of the things I've discovered is that we can lose the advantages we've gained so easily, so that, you know, we've become a more liberal society, but actually that may not sustain itself.
The judges said that they split the prize because they tried voting and it didn't work, and they saw that as a good metaphor for this sort of new world that we're in. Do you think the old rules can be sort of restored, or have we got to come up with a whole new set of rules to govern democracies?
People have been changing rules for at least 10,000 years. So I think every new generation and situation You're going to have some rules changes, and some people find that very uncomfortable because they're playing by the old rules and suddenly there are these new rules and they don't understand them. So you're going to have that kind of plate tectonic friction whenever there's a societal change.
Bernadine, how do you see the old rules reforming, new rules being made?
Well, if you look at our government, for example, and the people who are leading it, you'd think we were back in the 19th century. So I think...
17th.
Sorry, 17th century, you know, and yet at the same time there are sort of people in government, you know, in the current Tory government who wouldn't have been in government 20 years ago, you know, people of colour, for example. So I think there's the old and new rub along side by side, but I think we have to be careful that the status quo doesn't continue to perpetuate its own interests while pretending to do otherwise.
Now, finally, have you read each other's books?
We've started.
I deliberately didn't read the shortlist until after the prize, but I am going to be reading Margaret's signed copy of my book very soon.
Yes, and I'm halfway through chapter 1 of it.
It's the most exclusive book
really
club
good.
right here.
Yes, it is, yes.
Thank you both very much, and
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.